Yes, sir. Hello, y'all. Happy Malcolm Thursday. Today we got a special guest, Chef Buddah. You feel me?
Yes, indeed.
Um. Oh, what'd you say? Oh, all right. If y'all have any questions for him when he started story, I'm gonna need y'all to hit that emoji if everybody can see. But yeah, there's gonna be a special story today, y'all. So let's hear. That's all on you, Buddah. Chef Buddah.
What's up, man? Like they said, I'm Chef Buddah, aka Tremaine Duncan. I'm from Aurora, Colorado. I grew up in a lot of places, not just Aurora. I grew up in East Denver, went to Gilpin Elementary for a short stint. Lived out in Montbello, went to the Montbello Elementary Schools, went to middle school out in Montbello, excuse me. Then I went to Aurora and then went to Prairie and graduated from Overland. I played football at Overland, varsity 3 out of the 4 years I was there. I did student government. Man, I was a link leader, all types of stuff. On top of involved in little street stuff while I was at Overland, but we'll get back to that. I left Overland in 2008 to play football at UNC. In 2008, went up to UNC, played football for a year, stopped playing football just to focus on my academics. So I went to UNC, got a degree in social sciences with a minor in math. I was originally a math major, but I wasn't doing as well as I wanted to in my math classes. So I changed my major so I wouldn't graduate with a terrible GPA with the hopes of going to graduate school, but I didn't get into graduate school. So I just came back home and in 2013, I came back home and went to the high school I graduated from, worked as a para with some of the bad kids in the school, sat in them with class. It wasn't paying too well, so I left Overland as a peer. I was still coaching football. I forgot to throw that in there. I went back to Overland, coached football, left Overland to go to Excelsior Youth Services Center, which was a residential treatment facility for young ladies. It was pretty tough working in that environment. I worked there for 5 months and got a call from the Gilliam Youth Services Center to come and work as a recreation coordinator. So for 2.5 years, I worked at the Gilliam as a rec coordinator. I also subbed in the math classes, the social studies classes. I helped out with the DCPs. I did pretty much anything they asked of me. After 2.5 years, I left the Gilliam, excuse me, and I went to work for Denver pretrial release, and I worked as a pretrial release case manager for juveniles for a year.
Let me tap in real fast. Let me tap in real fast if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So you seem like we got straight into your adulthood within 4 minutes of you sharing your story. You know what I mean? With your story, I want to know what got you to want to work with the bad kids, want to work with the kids at the Gilliam. What inspired that kind of drive? You know what I mean? Number one, I want to know, did you have a pops growing up? What was your upbringing like? Was your mom, was it a single? I want to know that.
Okay. I would say about, I can't even give you the exact age, but I know it was before I was 5 years old. My pops had left, moved to Texas and started another family with another woman and had another kid and stayed there and helped raise her and left me and my younger sister here with my mom. But on top of my dad leaving and not really being a figure in my life, my mom was also struggling hard with a drug addiction. So I didn't have my mom or my dad. So I really was a grandma baby. So I had my mom's mom and my dad's mom, who I kind of went back and forth with, probably to my junior year of high school. But I know my childhood was important to me. So as an adult, I knew that when I became an adult, I know I wanted to work with kids in order to help them kind of escape some of the realities that they're living on a daily basis, and try to avoid some of the mistakes that I made as a kid. But anyway, like I said, my mom was a drug addict, my dad wasn't there. So I kind of had to figure out the life of the streets on my own. I had older cousins who were involved in gangs, but I don't want to call myself timid, but I really wasn't with all that like tough boy stuff at a young age. I kind of felt like I had to force myself, excuse me, to be like hard per se. You know, when I'm around my cousins, they'll always, you know, try to see what I'm about. And I felt like I had to prove myself, even though I wasn't like at heart, I wasn't that person. So it was a constant struggle. So as I got older and start hanging around more dudes that was really out there in the field gang banging, I'm like, well, shit. Well, excuse my language. Well, shoot, I might as well, you know, see what this is about. So when I was 14, I got put on 781 Family Bloods in Montbello. And at the time, I thought I was just, you know, just joining the gang, being cool, and, you know, getting a bigger group of friends to support me whenever I'm in some stuff. But little did I know I was getting myself into a way more serious situation than I actually knew. A couple years into my gangbang, well, not even a couple years, about 6 months into my gangbanging experience, I was at school one day and I was flagging real tough. And some dudes from the opposite side came up to the school and was testing my gangsters.
For those who don't know, what is flagging?
Flagging is wearing my bandana outside my pocket visibly so everybody can see what hood I'm claiming. Excuse me. So I was doing that at school. And as expected, somebody wanted to test my gangsters. So they came up to the school. A few of them came up to the school. I started to fight one and ended up becoming a different situation. And I got jumped. Ended up having to go to the hospital. And at that time, I called my cousin because, like I said, my older cousin was the one who's gangbanging. So I called my cousin, like, you know what, man, I don't know if this for me. You know, shit, I just got jumped. I ain't really trying to be out there like that. And he was like, well, shit, you already signed up for it. So you can't really, you know, tap out now. So I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So that's one instance. And then about a year and a half later, I was at a Sweet 16 party in December of 2006. And shoot, we was at a party. My homie came to the party, and it was the opposite side of the boulevard. They was there. So they saw what flag we had. They saw what hood we was claiming. So the parents of the party asked us to leave, and we did. But as we was leaving, some dudes decided to let off on us and ended up shooting and killing my homie that night. And the next day, I turned in my flag to a trusted individual that I had at the school and let them know that that was really the last straw for me in this gangbanging life. It wasn't necessarily that situation that like changed my mind. It was the effects that it had on his family. And I saw what his mom was going through, and I didn't want my grandma to have to go through that and see me laying stretched out in the casket for the last time. So I just decided to, from that point on, just focus on something else. So I really put my focus into student council because I knew on the football field, I still had to interact with some of the cats that were real involved with that street stuff. So I kind of shied away from the football field and put my energy more into student council. So my senior year of high school, I actually ended up getting kicked off of the football team because my commitment level wasn't where it needed to be. I still got recruited and still got offered scholarships, but it was under the condition that I would do certain things at the college level. So again, that's a longer story, but
hold on, before you continue, they had a question. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So playing football, did that help you like get away from gang banging and take all the little stress off you?
Not really, because I knew the people who was really like the cats who was really out there, like whether they be wannabes or really out there in the field, I knew that they were out playing football, trying to use sports as a avenue to get to where they need to get in life. And for me, like knowing I'm educated, knowing I can do the books, knowing I can do football and other stuff, I wasn't too hung on using football as my avenue to get out because I knew it wasn't a guaranteed ticket. Academics was my guaranteed ticket. So I knew if I had my diploma and go to college and got my degree, then that's something nobody could ever take away from me.
So what helped you like calm down and like not like go overboard with everything?
I kind of have to force myself to be in like uncomfortable situations. Like as a young man, it's easy being in comfortable situations because you don't really have to think outside the box because you're so used to thinking everybody else around you is thinking, and you don't want to. At least for me, when I was younger, I didn't really want to stand out as much as I do now. So I was trying to fit in, but not knowing that being an individual is really the best way to go. So the more you focus on yourself and put more like focus on the outcome and not what everybody else thinks about you, the better off you'll be. And also focus on what everybody thought about me and wanted to be cool, that I put myself in some messed up positions. So I had to see rock bottom before I really understood what life was about.
So when did you stop caring about what other people thought, how other people felt about you? And we're gonna get back to when you got kicked off the team. You know what I mean? When you was getting kicked off, but when did that start? You know what I mean?
Man, truthfully, I just turned 30 this year, and I can really say that I'm getting to a point to where I'm not too concerned with what anyone thinks about me, because it's rough, man, because like I know I used to gang bang, so I know people know that about me. I know I didn't leave the best taste in people's mouths, so I kind of force myself to be on this straight and narrow when really I don't have to, because there's no perfect person. So I'm putting extra stress on myself trying to mold myself based on everybody that I interact with instead of just being myself and letting people decide whether or not they want to, be an advocate for me or not. So I mean that could sound arrogant, but I'm just tired of trying to please everybody. Like I got 4 kids and a wife at home, and it's stressful enough trying to make sure home life is cool. So going out in the world every day and trying to make sure everybody's happy and see me as what they want to see me as is difficult, bro. So I'm just being myself from here on out.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Thank you. Please continue, bro.
Where did I leave off? So you want me to go back to getting kicked out of the team or what?
Yeah, that's where you left off.
Yeah, so when I was a senior in high school, man, like I said, that situation with my friend when he got killed, it just gave me a different perspective on life and showed me how precious life was. So I'm like, well, I know I'm a leader. I know I'm charismatic. I know I can make friends easily, but I don't have to gang bang. I don't have to be a class clown. I don't have to act uneducated in order to achieve those things. So like I said, I was putting myself in uncomfortable situations. So I joined student council and student government. I'm one of the only Black guys going to these student government conferences. I'm one of the only Black guys, like being a voice for the people and the young men in my grade class who we typically don't have a voice for. So I started to get more like empowered by that as opposed to being empowered by making tackles on the football field or how many dudes I'm knocking out in the street. So it was just like a mind shift, man. And of course, I was concerned about what people thought about me in terms of like, am I a punk or a wussy or all of that? But I was just so confident in being able to protect myself that I'm just gonna run with what I believe in. So.
Outside of the cousins that was trying you, you know what I mean, to make you fit that tough role, did you have any other family that was like, nah, get off of him? He ain't, we gonna push him to do the book thing. We gonna push him to do positive. We ain't gonna push him, encourage that negative shit.
Yeah, it was one. I had one cousin out of all of my cousins who really encouraged me, like, nah, Tremaine, like this ain't you. Like I said, I was timid, so a lot of them knew it wasn't me, but really wouldn't keep me from making that decision. They just let me do it. But I had one cousin named Kelvin who was like, nah, man, it's not you. As much as I went to him, like, what's up, bro? I want to get down. I don't care what it is, but he was always there. And then when I got put on, he was mad at me. He was like, I told you not to do it. And then when my friend died and I told him, like, bro, man, I should have listened. He was like, I really didn't want to see it get to that point, but, that's how it really gets. So I had one person who tried to convince me not to do it, but you know, being young and dumb, I wanted to see it for myself.
One out of how many though?
Man, family is crazy, bro. I know I had a guy I went to high school with who's a pretty well-known gang member out here who would always tell me, like, Tremaine, come on, man. You know you ain't really about this life. And as a young dude, you don't really like to hear people tell you that. But deep down inside, you know, like, yeah, I'm really not about that life. But shit, if I gotta jump up off this porch, I'm gonna jump up off. But it's just sometimes it's cool. Like, yeah, I'm not. So okay, keep it moving. But I don't know, man. It wasn't too many that I was like, yeah, just do that in terms of family. But I definitely had support systems at school and like through some of the mentoring organizations in the community, like the Kappa League and Omega Si Phi's. But other than that, coming from family, bro, being the first in my family to graduate high school, not high school, but first in my family to graduate college, nah, I couldn't, I didn't know what to, they didn't know what to tell me.
Thank you. Please continue.
Trying to think where I left off. So we talked about football, getting kicked off the team, student government. I graduated, like I said, 2008, went to UNC. I played football at UNC. Man, I wouldn't even call it a year. I call it, I went to training camp, and after training camp, I hung my cleats up, man. Like I said, I knew in high school my heart really wasn't in football, but at the same time, my family knew I had talent in football, wanted me to pursue football at a higher level, but my passion was being more of an advocate for my people and people who looked like me. So once I got to college and noticed that football was more of a job and an occupation and a daily routine and anything, I'm like, man, I don't know if I'm ready to do this, and I don't want to waste my time 4 or 5 more years devoting energy to something I'm really not passionate about doing. So I went and talked to the coach. Of course, when I quit, I went back and forth like, man, did I make the right decision? I have family members who were upset, but I stuck with it, and I got myself involved in clubs and organizations on campus, first generation programs. I got involved in cultural centers. I did orientation leading. I played as Omega Si Phi. I graduated. I did step shows. I did a lot, man. To come home and try to give back the beauties of what I learned and what I was blinded by being a kid, trying to be a street person or trying to be hard or tough.
Don't forget that thought. Trying to be a street person and being tough. This is actually very good that we got you right here, because we never had somebody who was actually a quoted gang member and who actually pledged as well. What's the difference between the two?
Man, that's tough. I think the difference, the main and most like blatant difference is that fraternities and sororities are like community focused and or at least what I know about gangs and gang membership is that they're out to do harm to others and test each other's manhood and, you know, sell drugs and do all of this. And as a fraternity member, I don't feel like those are my obligations. Now, in terms of like, man, being hard or not being hard enough to be in this gang or pledging or going through what you go through in order to be a member of an organization, yeah, there's definitely similarities right there, because some people feel like if you didn't go through the hardest, and man, some people may get mad, but like I said, I don't really care. If you didn't go through the hardest aspects of what it needed to take to join the fraternity or the organization, then a lot of people don't see you as a true member of that organization, which to me goes against the founding principles of what organizations are built on, which is friendship. It's like, if we're built on friendship, then it shouldn't matter how we got to this point. The only thing that should matter is how we move forward and how we like get to what our aim is as an organization. So, I mean, I don't really know any other synonymous things that gangs and fraternities have that you can compare.
Right on, bro.
I got a question. So what do you tell like your oldest? What do you have, an oldest boy?
My daughter's 5.
Oh,
My oldest daughter is 5. Yep.
okay, never mind then.
Like I said, I work with a lot of kids, bro. So I have conversations a lot. So if you want to still ask that question, I can maybe answer it. What's up,
I was about
girl?
to. I was gonna ask like, what do you tell your kids? Do you tell them about your like street stories and what not to do and what to do?
I mean, when they get older, I will, but I
Yeah,
definitely try to encourage them on how to be like a better person. I try not to put pressure on my sons to be this quote unquote tough guy or be hard. You know, of course I try to minimize the crying and whining on certain things, but I'm like, man, just be yourself. If that's emotionally how you express yourself, then I mean, as a father, because I didn't have the right teacher growing up, I'm still learning how to be a dad. So I don't know what I'm doing if it's right or wrong. I can only go based off of what I expect another man in society to show my son. And that's deference. So if I can show my son deference and help him understand that, yeah, life isn't fair, but you're free to express yourself how you want to express yourself, then I mean, I feel like I'm doing a good job of being a dad that way.
Please continue, bro.
Yep. So I joined Omega Si Phi in 2011. And I didn't go through what I consider a full-fledged process. And a lot of my fraternity brothers still to this day don't really consider me to be a thorough man of Omega, even though I graduated college, unlike some other of my fraternity brothers, even though I go out and do a lot of community work, it's just like so much emphasis is put on how you came into the fold as opposed to what you're actually doing to uphold the values of our fraternity. So my relationships with a lot of my fraternity brothers are kind of sour since 2011 up until now. But it doesn't make a difference. In 2013, like I said, I graduated, first in my family to graduate, which is a proud moment for me. It took a lot. Man, I graduated with a lot of debt. I just last December was able to pay my debt to actually get my degree in hand to see and hold, bro. So, like I said, I graduated in 2013, but I didn't feel the actual paper and hardware until December of 2019, bro. So I just feel like I'm a recent graduate and I'm just now being able to embark on a road that I should have embarked on 7 years ago. So I'm blessed to be able to be here and tell my story and work with kids and try to give a better society for my kids when they grow older, man. So
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You mind me asking, what is the full pledge process
in terms of what?
to become an Omega Psi Phi or to be a part of a fraternity? Why do they say that you don't qualify? What is the full pledge process?
It's a lot that goes into it, bro. And I mean that's a conversation we can have offline, but it's just, there's a right way to that some people see of being a member of the fraternity, and there's a wrong way. And some people see that the right way you were made, then you can be embraced a little bit better than others. And that's just my experience. That may not be everybody else's experience. That's just my experience, bro.
Mm.
And I don't want to give out no jewels. Although you can find everything you want about organizations on the internet, I'm just not going to be the one to get that out. But like I said, we
Yes.
can have a conversation offline about it.
Any other questions? Comments? Compliments?
Wait, I was on mute, but I have a question. So, like, who where did you learn to cook? Like, or who taught you how to cook? And why did you start your own catering business?
Oh, I like that. Good question. Excuse me, cooking, it kind of comes natural. Like I said at the beginning of my story, I was a grandma baby. And y'all know grandmas are cookers, so they're in the kitchen cooking all the time. And me, being a chunky kid, I'm next to the pot trying to see what's in the pot so I can be the first one to taste. Granny, how'd you make this? Or whenever I'm cooking something, when I was in college, I'll call my grandma. So I just started barbecuing one day when I was up in Greeley, and everybody was like, man, every time we do a barbecue or some type of function, we need to have you cook. And I'm like, yep, that's a bet. So when I got back to Denver, I just started honing in on my craft. I got fired, is what I didn't tell y'all, is I got fired from 2 jobs. So I got fired from the pretrial release job, and I got fired from working at a nonprofit in Park Hill. And I was kind of forced to focus and start my own business. So being fired, excuse me, from my 2 previous jobs really forced me to start my own business and take matters into my own hands. And that's what really helped me start my business in 2018 was Buddha's Barbecue. I found a business loan provider to give me a loan to get my food truck. Got on the road last summer, saw how hard it was to really work on a food truck and do all that cooking by yourself. So I'm kind of trying to restructure my business to just be more catering and meal providing instead of food trucking because it's tough. But I learned from my grandmas in terms of cooking. So.
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Or comments or compliments or anything?
Nah, I think, are you finished with your story? Or you got more to add on?
No, I'm finished in terms of
Cause
what.
you,
Go ahead,
oh
Dede.
my bad.
Go ahead.
Cause like she said, I was wondering the same thing. What made you like start cooking and stuff? But she asked and you answered it. So yeah. Any more questions? No. Well, thank you for coming out and sharing your story. It's great from hearing from where you from and everything. Yeah, that would be it for today.
Daddy,
Oh
you're
yeah,
not gonna do the snap?
we got the snaps for you. Hold on, there's another question before that though. If we didn't catch anything you said, I mean, yes, you said, what is it again? Help me out.
If we didn't catch anything that you said, what is one thing like that you would leave us with? Like a piece
There
of
we
advice?
go.
I would just say be yourself at all times. I don't think it's necessary.
Right?
Okay, I'm not gonna say it's not necessary. I don't think you guys, as a young person, understand the power of being an individual. As you grow older, people are gonna expect you to think a certain way, move a certain way, vote a certain way, vice, etc. But like I said, I don't think people understand the power of being an individual. So just be yourself. Don't feel like you have to join a fraternity. Don't feel like you have to join a gang. Don't feel like you have to be a part of the pretty girl crew or anything like that. Is just be yourself, man. I wish being a young person I was myself more because I wouldn't fight so much with who I want to be. So.
All right, we're gonna do the snaps for you. On 3, we all gonna snap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, man, that's it. Thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
Peace, Buddha.
Thank you.